So I'm not going to know which one is which, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, I feel like this one's a little steadier. So this is the native resolution for this device, whatever this one is. I think I know which one this is.
All right, so that's a loser for you?
Yeah.
So which one do you think is?
Probably this one?
Yep.
No way. Wow.
Hey guys, Mike here from Envy Creative. Now in my never-ending quest to find the perfect plug-and-play YouTube setup, I wanted to bring together 4 different cameras and setups to compare them to each other to be able to cover all aspects of creating YouTube videos, like vlogging, doing talking heads, and doing B-roll, to see which would be the best at an all-around YouTube setup that could do talking heads, that could do vlogging, and that could do B-roll. But not only did I want to compare all the different features, but I also wanted to get cameras and setups that would be affordable for a lot of YouTubers starting out. So the cameras and setups we're trying out today is the Insta360 ONE X2 with the Insta360 selfie stick, as well as the microphone attachment, the cold shoe attachment, and the belt attachment. Next is the DJI Osmo Pocket 2, the Creators Bundle, which includes a wireless mic pack and a wide-angle lens attachment. Then we have the GoPro Hero 9 Black with the Media Mod case. And last, we have our Sony ZV-1 camera with a wide-angle lens and with the Zhiyun Crane M2. We did testing on all of these setups, and we have 5 categories for testing. And our first category is for vlogging. We were looking for something that was comfortable to hold in one hand, that got decent footage when you're walking around with it, and was easy to set up overall for that process. The next category we have is for B-roll. Now this is kind of the less intensive of all the categories, but basically we just tested to see how good the camera could be at quick B-roll shots, or if you just need to take some videos of an interior or exterior. The third category we had was for the talking head segment, for those that want to have just a normal talking head segment like you're watching right now. Some of the categories for this segment was the ease of use of setting up, as well as the quality of the talking head segment, as well as how easy it was after you were done with your talking head to work with the footage. The fourth and fifth category kind of go hand in hand, and that's for audio quality and video quality. We bought all the attachments possible so that we could get the best audio we could out of all of these setups. Now, while most of these have built-in microphones, most of them also needed a microphone attachment or something to be able to let you use an external microphone with the setup. And last is video quality, which we are touching on, but with all the other categories, you'll kind of be able to see the quality difference. So we kept this last since we don't really need to go over it too much after you've seen all the footage from all the other categories. Now for all these tests up to the point where we're doing audio, we're actually not going to correct any of the audio. We're just going to show how it comes straight out of camera, since in the audio section, we're actually going to tweak the audio and make it sound as good as possible so that you can hear the audio samples by themselves then. So before we hop in, I just wanted to let you know that 2 of these are actually considered action cameras, and we're not going to be putting them through action camera tests today, since obviously that's what they're made for, but they do kind of spout themselves to be able to do other things as well, which is what we're going to be testing today. So with that said, let's jump into the first category, which is vlogging. With the vlogging category, it had to be pretty easy to actually set up and get going, since people like to vlog at the drop of a hat and just get going and start filming as soon as they need to. So with the Insta360, it was pretty easy to get up and vlogging. All you needed to do was attach it to the selfie stick, turn it on, extend the selfie stick, and press record, and then you can get going. As you can see here, you get a very wide field of view with the Insta360 so that you can crop in later and reframe through the app or through their desktop app. We found that while this was a really cool effect, how it crops out the actual selfie stick, it wasn't very practical when it came to trying to get decent audio. USB-C microphone adapter setup, and I have a Rode Wireless Go mic. But if you do need an external microphone to get a little bit better audio because the internal mic is not that great, you won't get that seamless stitching that the Insta360 does. Now we know that the audio is a separate category, but we are going to touch on some of the categories within others because they do mix and match, since the microphone attachment has to stick out on the side attached to the USB Type-C port on the side of the device. So as you can see here, it can't crop it out because it's just sticking too far out of the side. But the stabilization was pretty cool, as the Insta360 is known for having pretty good stabilization. Plus, the Insta360 is very, very light, so when you're holding it with the selfie stick, you can barely even feel it, it's so light. The attachment does add a little bit of weight, but it's probably the lightest out of all the setups. So now we're moving on to the DJI Osmo Pocket 2 as a vlogging camera. Now with this, we did have to get the creators bundle because it did come with the wireless mic pack as well as the wide-angle lens attachment. Right out of the box, you can see how tiny this is, and one of the main benefits about this camera is that it's a camera and gimbal in one, so you're gonna get smooth shots no matter what you do with this camera. It did take a little bit of tweaking and knowing how to get around the menus, but we did get it working as a vlogging style camera. So now we're doing a test of the walk and talk with the selfie stick attached. It's about halfway out, and we're also tracking my face with the face tracking on the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. We were really surprised at how wide of an angle it was, just even without the wide-angle lens attachment. And then as soon as we put on the wide-angle lens, we get an even bigger field of view. Because we specifically got the pack with the microphone pack, we wanted to use that instead of the built-in microphone since we already had it, and this is what a lot of people would be using rather than the built-in microphone since it comes in the package itself. It looks like with the wide-angle lens, for some reason, you have to be fairly close. I think it's because it's just having a hard time with so much in the frame trying to find your face. As you can hear, the microphone is really decent on it. The mic pack is a little big, but it does have a 3.5mm microphone jack so that you can plug another lav mic into it. We actually didn't have super high hopes for this camera, but it really did actually impress us with how well it kept us in frame, and the biggest thing is how well it stabilized the footage with the gimbal built onto the camera. This one is probably the second lightest, so you will feel it a little bit, but walking around with it is not a big deal. It probably weighs less than a pound, even with the additional stuff on it to make it so that you can have a wireless mic pack. Now we're going to look at the GoPro Hero 9 Black as a vlogging camera. As we know, the GoPros have been around for a long time, and they're mainly action cameras, but they are building different things for them, like the media mod, to allow people to do different things with them, for instance, if you need high quality audio. The media mod does have a built-on microphone, which we did test, but we were mainly interested in using the microphone jack so that we could get even higher quality audio. With all of these vlogging tests, we did try them all on the Insta360 selfie stick, which, as a side note, we would highly recommend just picking one up, even if you don't have an Insta360, since they're really light, they go really far, and they're really sturdy. Anyway, we attached the GoPro onto the Insta360 selfie stick and started trying to vlog with that. At first, we did try out the built-on mic on the media mod, which was okay. Okay, so this is a test of the walk and talk of the GoPro Hero 9 Black. We're just using the built-in mic to the media mod to see how that sounds. But one of the things we were really surprised about with the GoPro is how heavy it was with the media mod. The GoPro itself is actually pretty heavy in itself, but the media mod adds a lot of bulk and adds a lot of weight as well. I am having to adjust my hand grip a little bit just because it is a little bit heavier than the other cameras. And I was actually having a hard time keeping my hand up with the selfie stick trying to vlog with the camera because it was just so heavy. Even though we had GoPro stabilization on, I wasn't super impressed with the stabilization. It was just kind of okay. Now I know it's meant more for action camera things, but because GoPro again comes out with stuff like the media mod, they are targeting the GoPro, if you have those attachments, to content creators to use. Thankfully, once we put on our wireless mic, which we were using the Rode Wireless Go, the audio did get 100% better. Okay, so now we're doing a walk and talk test with the GoPro, with the media mod, and with the Rode Wireless Go mic attached right here and attached to the 3.5mm headset. But again, it added even more weight to the GoPro, which was even harder to hold with all that weight. And finally, we have our Sony ZV-1 with the Zhiyun Crane M2. Now this is kind of a unique setup because we wanted to put our Sony with these other smaller cameras to see how it performed. And because all of the other cameras had built-in stabilization or had a gimbal, we thought it was only fair to give our Sony a gimbal as well. So we picked up the Zhiyun Crane M2, which is made for smaller cameras, This setup actually took the most setup because not only do you have to put your camera on the gimbal, but you also have to balance the gimbal, and then you actually have to put it in a certain mode so that it's a selfie style so that it points towards you. One of the other things we noticed is actually the way the gimbal is set up, it blocks the microphone port, so you actually can't put an external microphone on the camera while you're using it for vlogging. Thankfully, the Sony, when you're close to it, actually does have really good audio. Like we did with the other tests, we are going to put it on a selfie stick to get that really, really wide angle. But for now, we're actually just going to put on our wide angle lens to see what it sounds like with the microphone about this far away. Now, this setup was definitely the heaviest of the bunch, so I actually couldn't even use the selfie stick without it bending. So I just had to hold on to the folded up tripod legs that come with the Zhiyun gimbal. So in these first shots, I was just using the lens by itself. I wasn't using any modifiers, and we were pretty surprised that it was getting such a wide angle of view just with the normal camera lens. But now when we put on the wide angle lens, you can definitely see a wider field of view, and you definitely get a little bit better looking vlog style video. And the winner of this round is the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Again, we were really surprised on how easy and fast it was to set up, and then once you get up and running, you really don't have to worry about getting a good shot with it, since as long as you do the face tracking at the beginning, then it follows you and it keeps you in a really nice frame. Plus, the wireless mic that comes with the bundle works straight out of the box, and there really wasn't any headache in trying to get that set up for pretty decent audio. In second place is going to be the Sony ZV-1 and the Zhiyun gimbal. The main reason we gave the Sony the second place is because the audio quality was pretty decent just this far away. Again, it was the heaviest out of the bunch, but as long as you're not doing super long vlogs in one take, it's perfectly usable doing a vlog about this far away from you in short bursts. So with the Insta360 and the GoPro, which actually are the two kind of action cameras, we kind of wanted to tie them for last place, but we are going to give the Insta360 the third place slot just because of how light it was compared to the heavy GoPro. Otherwise, with the Insta360, if you're planning on using an external mic, it's almost unusable unless you want to reframe and zoom in on the footage, which even though it says it's 5.7K, which is what we were shooting in, we really couldn't get a very sharp picture even when we were reframing. And then in last place for this does come the GoPro. Now, we do like GoPro for certain things, but this wasn't one of them. Basically, it was just way too heavy to use. The built-in microphone on the Media Mod wasn't that great, and we actually had to put on the wireless mic to be able to get decent audio, but again, that just added to the weight even more, and it was just really heavy trying to hold as a vlogging camera. Okay, so the next category is going to be B-roll. Now, this is going to be a pretty short category. Basically, all we were trying to do is get nice shots with each of the cameras. I'm just going to show you the quick clips of each of these, and then I'm going to show you a split screen of all four side by side so that you can see the difference. Now with these, because we want B-roll to look really nice, we did do color correction and reframing and everything that you would normally do in post-production for all of these shots. After seeing all of those, in first place, we're going to give it to our Sony ZV-1. Now yes, this is the most expensive setup of the list, but you can just see how good of color it gets and how nice all the B-roll looks for it, and that was really the only criteria for this. In second place, we're going to have to give it to the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Again, this camera is just really surprising us on how good of a picture it can get from such a small lens and sensor, and that built-in gimbal just does a great job with stabilization. Now in third place, we're going to give it to the GoPro, mainly because the colors were really nice on this, but also because the stabilization was pretty good. Now even though this shoots in 5K, we really didn't see a difference when it comes to video quality, mainly we think because the GoPro's lens may not be quite as good as the Sony's or the DJI. And in last place for this, we're going to give it to the Insta360 Insta360. For this, it's mainly just because of how the footage looked. With B-roll, you want to get kind of sweeping shots, you want to get close-ups, and with the Insta360, we could get sweeping shots, but it was mainly just an ultra-wide shot, and you can't really get too close-up to things with the Insta360. Okay, now category 3 is going to be the talking head portion, which is what most YouTubers do on YouTube when they want to talk to the camera rather than vlogging or rather than voiceover. They do a talking head just like I'm doing right now. Some of the criteria in this one was, again, how easy and quick it was to set up and all the things that go into a normal talking head video. But again, we're just going to be using the straight out of camera audio so that you can see what the audio sounds like.
Okay, so now I have the USB-C to 3.5mm microphone jack attachment attached to the Insta360, and I'm using the Rode Wireless Go microphone to test out the audio for this talking head style video.
All right, so now we're mainly doing an audio test for the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. So we just took one of our 3.5mm microphones and put it on my shirt here just with a Rycoat sticky. So now the Sony is on a table. It has the tripod legs on the selfie stick. So the Sony is sitting on the gimbal right now. Again, we wanted to make this video so that you really didn't have to take anything apart. Okay, so now we have the Rode Wireless Go mic set up, again on the media mod. One thing is you do need the media mod to be able to have wireless mic set up, because that's the only way that you can get a wireless mic plugged in with the 3.5mm jack. All right, so now that you've seen all of the test talking head clips, in first place, again, we're giving it to the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Now, even though we thought that the color was a little bit better on the Sony, again, we're doing an all-in-one thing with minimal setup. Now, with the Sony, if we have to take it off the gimbal and put it on a tripod, that's not considered plug and play in our book. So we actually did leave the Sony on the gimbal for the talking head portion, which again, we couldn't get to the audio jack for. But in second place, we are going to give it to the Sony, mainly just for the quality of the picture. Now, like we said, we couldn't get to the audio jack because we wanted these to be as plug and play and easy to set up as possible, and breaking down a camera from a gimbal and putting it on a tripod in our book doesn't count as plug and play. Now in third place, we're going to give it to the GoPro. The video was okay using the GoPro as a talking head camera. With the media mod, the built-in mic on that wasn't great, but once you plug in a wireless mic, the audio becomes 100% better. And in last place again is the Insta360. It's mainly because after you're done shooting, the files are a little bit hard to work with to prep them for YouTube. Plus the audio just isn't good whether we had the mic attachment to it or whether we were using the built-in mic. All right, so the next category is video quality. Now I'm not gonna go over it too much since you've seen the footage in the previous test, so I'm gonna go straight into ranking. First place in this category is gonna go to the Sony ZV-1, mainly because it's the biggest camera, it has the biggest sensor, it has the best lens, and it has everything going for it in the video category. As you can see, the picture you get out of the Sony is really, really nice. It's really pleasing to the eye. You get that really nice depth of field because of the lens, but in a very close second place is the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. As you can see, the video quality is really, really nice. It gives you pleasing skin tones. We were just using the normal setting on the camera because we found that that actually got the best looking video. And even in darker areas, it really didn't get grainy at all, so it's still giving you a really nice picture. And then in third place is the Insta360. Now we mainly gave it third place instead of fourth place, not because of its overall quality, because we really can't tell that it's actually a 5.7K picture, because it really doesn't look that detailed, but we gave it to it because of the 360 viewing angle, so if you need to reframe after the fact to be able to get a certain shot, you're able to. And in last place for video quality, we were actually really surprised that we were going to give it to the GoPro. Basically what we found with the GoPro is in optimal lighting, you get a really nice picture, preferably outdoors, but when we were indoors, even with all of our studio lights on, if it just got a little bit dark, it got really, really grainy. As you can see here, we did try to put a grain remover on the footage to try to get it a little bit smoother, but even that didn't really work that well, and it still looks a bit blotchy. And now we're on to audio. Because for this category, it's focused mainly on audio quality, we went through all of the audio, we processed it, and we made it sound as good as we possibly could. Now, because with all these setups, we're trying to get the best audio quality possible, we're actually going to use the best audio from the device that we could possibly get.
Okay, so now I have the USB-C to 3.5mm microphone jack attachment attached to the Insta360.
All right, so now we're mainly doing an audio test for the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. So now the Sony is on a table. It has the tripod legs on the selfie stick. Okay, so now we have the Rode Wireless Go mic setup, again on the media mod. And believe it or not, for this category, the GoPro actually comes in first place. Once you plug in a microphone with the 3.5mm microphone jack, the audio becomes 100% better. And we actually found that it sounded better than all the other contestants with the audio processing from that media mod. In second place is the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Now, we would have given this first place just because whether you use the built-in mic on the mic pack or whether you use a lav mic plugged into the mic pack, both give you really nice audio. In third place comes the Sony ZV-1. Now again, we weren't able to plug a mic into it because when it's on the gimbal, it's actually blocking the microphone jack. But as you could hear, if you're a couple feet away from the Sony, the built-in mic is actually really solid. And in last place is the Insta360. Now, we really wanted the audio to work on this because we even bought the external audio jack for it that plugs into the USB-C. But really, whether we were using the on-camera mic or the external mic with our Rode Wireless Go, it just sounded terrible. It just sounds really muddy with that external audio, and the internal mic wasn't that great either. Now, before I announce the winner, we try to give you guys really detailed information on all the things we do here on our YouTube channel, as well as give you some industry insider into some of the film production world, as well as videos like this where we try to help out the YouTube community by testing out different things that might help them as well. So if you like the information we put out and you get something from our videos, just tapping the like button really helps us out so that our videos get seen to more people so more people can learn. Okay, so now for the results. Our winner is the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. Test after test, this camera really surprised us with everything it could do, and it's actually, as of this filming, the cheapest camera on this list. It did great vlogging, it did great B-roll, it did great talking heads, the video quality was really good, and the audio quality was really good too. So overall, this was a great camera for anybody starting in YouTube that just wants an all-around setup that they don't have to invest a ton in, that they can just pick up and start using. Thanks so much guys for watching, and if you have any comments about anything that we said here today, maybe you have one of these cameras or setups, feel free to leave in the comments below, or if you have any questions about anything, feel free to comment as well, and we'll catch you on the next one.